welcome to my podcast. Today we have a guest who is the co-author of many books, founder of Hive, a creative space, Kruti Shah, who I know since childhood. So let us see what she has to say. Hi Kruti Didi, welcome to the podcast. So can you introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you Vedant. I'm Kruti Shah. I'm an author, an educator, an entrepreneur, a hobbyist and a parent rolled in one. At heart, I feel I'm a teacher. I grew up playing teacher all my childhood and then went on to simplify English and math for roadside children and also to make advertising more fun and media laws less boring for postgraduate students. Along the way, Vedant, I've also authored 2 texts on advertising and communications and a medical thriller called The Acola Trials, because why not, right?
Yeah.
Hobby-wise, I think the arts have always tugged at me. I have been trained in Bharatanatyam and Kuchipudi dances. I have dabbled in a lot of fine arts. I have been an aspiring singer, although my mother's musical gene has always given me a skip. Nevertheless, I have been a passionate puzzle solver, board game buff, an avid traveler, and I love reading books as well. So I think my versatile interests led to my entrepreneurial journey, which culminated in the Hive, which is a creative space that I have fashioned out of my childhood home. And essentially it is where I would love to spark curiosity, hobbies and a love for lifelong learning. So being a parent, of course, has helped in this entire process because my daughters have been my biggest guinea pigs so far.
Okay.
So that's something about me.
Okay. So what was that idea about starting the Hive, if you can tell?
Right. So the Hive is a creative space, as I mentioned, that essentially aims at fostering the love of hobbies and also at bringing people and building communities around shared interests. So in the past 4 years plus that I started and founded it, we've had about 200 plus programs across fine and performing arts, health and wellness, games and recreation, science, nature and exploration, DIY and maker kind of programs, community celebrations, communications based programs and a lot more. However, it's not just an activity space. The very purpose of the Hive is to address the basic human needs of the times, which is to adapt to the need to think creatively and the need to connect. If we look at the micro level, I think my being an educator and having dabbled in different hobbies has always drifted me towards a creative venture. Even if I look at the macro changes that have been happening around in the world, I feel that the way the Hive is poised as an alternative learning space, it is very relevant to the current times. I mean, if we just look at the pace at which technology is changing, for example, right? It took humanity hundreds of thousands of years to master fire, to maybe just a few centuries to get to develop industrialization, and now within 66 years we went from the first flight, powered flight, to landing on the moon. And now with AI, with quantum computing, with biotechnology and such other transitive technologies, I feel that changes are going to happen even more exponentially within years, if not months. So how are we as human beings poised to kind of adapt to these changes? Are we equipped to stay stable and rooted along with adapting to the needs of the times? So I feel that hobbies are a great way to equip ourselves with 21st century learning skills, such as those for solving problems, creative thinking, the ability to adapt, and at the same time staying rooted with by maintaining human connections. So these were some of the thought processes that went into the bringing together of the Hive, the micro and the macro factors that make it what it is.
So how many students are there right now? And,
So every program has a different mix of students, anywhere from 5 to 15 to 50. It really depends on the program that we are running. But for me, it's never been about the number of students. When we ran our first children's theatre program, I got only 5 sign-ups. 2 of them were my own daughters. However, that did not really thwart me from pulling out the program, because I wanted to do what I really believed in. And fortunately, that program took off very well. We call it the Elephants in Pink Pajamas. A lot of children, after that, they came forward to learning by doing, because this program is all about learning through hands-on. Hands-on learning. And since then, we've had up to 20 participants in this theatre program. So what I meant to say is that while the number varies, it's never really been the benchmark or the yardstick for success at the Hive, because we do what we do, whether it's 5 participants or 50.
That's right. And what are the, I want to know the activities you do in the Hive apart from the theatre group or something.
Right.
If you can name some activities, what you do.
So as I mentioned, it spans several interest areas, from board games to martial arts to sound healing, yoga. We have nature exploration and heritage walks. We've had programs where you can meet the bees live. We've had hands-on math-based programs through which you can learn math visually. We've had communications-based programs pertaining to public speaking, storytelling programs. So there are a lot of programs that happen at the Hive. Again, as I mentioned, it's not an activity space, but we do have a lot of programs. The whole idea is to still stay true to the play way of learning, because no matter what the program is, the underlying philosophy is to learn through play, whether it's board games. I mean, yes, you do end up learning math through board games, through origami also, but that's not the objective. The whole idea is to recreate yourselves, to take it easy, to learn in a play way, and to connect, to just simply come together as people who get along around a hobby and come together.
So are there teachers or some people who guide the children there, or?
Sure, yeah, we do have experts who come as facilitators for each individual program, and according to the program that we have, we scout out these experts, we curate these programs in conjunction with them, and we guide participants through the learning process.
Okay. And I also want to know about your journey by author journey, or a book that you write.
Right. So Vedant, I have authored 2 texts on marketing and communications. I'm sure you don't really want to listen about what communications is, because it was intended to be a textbook, both the books, and they were published by Tata McGraw-Hill. I ended up taking to writing those books because I felt a lacuna in I used to teach marketing communications, and I found that most of the books were only of foreign authors. So I penned one myself with Indian examples and case studies and relevance to the Indian scenario. That's how it came about. And the medical thriller, the Aquila trials, was it happened very incidentally. About 20 years before I began writing that book, I had actually done a research stint at a pharmaceutical company, and it was for launching an anti-retroviral drug, an anti-HIV drug. So I had the opportunity of meeting HIV positive patients, HIV practitioners, both doctors as well as quacks, a lot of pharmacists, LGBTQ proponents, and along the way, I mean, I never at that time had imagined that later in the future I'm going to take this up and come up with a medical thriller. I spent about 3 years in research and study and meeting people and interviewing them and finding out all about the issues in the pharmaceutical industry. And what I really discovered was that it's an industry that's almost as big as alcohol and petroleum. Marketing is about the expense in marketing is about half of that in research, which is big, right? So as we call it, the big pharma, essentially in the US, a lot of pharmaceutical companies are big time. They also have been eyeing the Indian market because with 1.3 billion wallets and with a graying population and with increasing prosperity, India was ripe for the plucking. So my novel was set in this context of how the big pharma is eyeing the Indian market and what are some of the issues, such as the problems with clinical research or problems like medicalization that I wanted to take to common people, things which we never really know what really happens behind the scenes. In fact, even doctors are not aware of more than 50% of what goes behind a drug. So that's what the Aquila trials was all about.
Okay. And where are they available? If are they on
The
on
book
sale or-
is sold on Notion Press related websites, also on Amazon. So it's not in stores physically in the retail
online
space,
we
but
can-
online,
yeah,
yes, you can.
okay.
be on
And I
Amazon.
also want to know about your Bharatnatyam journey or something.
Right.
Are you
Yes, so I mean, I began that even before I knew what I wanted to do. So it's one of those things where my mother enrolled me in a class because.
and you also did a show with your mother.
Right, that was
remember coming to
Kuchipudi.
the
I
show.
loved the
I
dances.
remember I came with my parents.
Yes,
to watch
yes,
this,
you were
right?
quite young then.
Yeah.
So I started Bharatnatyam, I think I must have been 6 at that time, and I had a 7-year journey with, in fact at that time we really never had any major performances except for the end graduation ceremony, the Arangetram that we have. I learned under Smita Shastri and Shalu Ben Bhatt, and I think it was also my introduction to Indian culture, Indian, I won't say mythology, but everything about the spiritual and the religious areas that India is so rich with. So Bharatnatyam gave me a great insight into that, along with Amar Chitra Kathas and such. And then with my mother, we pursued Kuchipudi, which is another
Dance
form
form,
of
yeah.
classical dance form. And yeah, I mean, I think I started that when I was 13, and then we graduated about 3 years later, my mother.
So I want to know what's your role in the Hive right now, if you can say.
So Vedant, I wear many hats at the Hive. Being a founder, you have to literally dabble into several things. I am responsible for I call myself a dream maker, so I actually daydream a lot. I think of and conceive ideas for programs that I really want to launch at the Hive. Rope-in facilitators who are experts in their field. My friend and my colleague Himani helps me a lot with that, and I have another teammate, Forum Desai, who's also an educator for several years. So together we are a team of 3. We all curate, conceive programs, and we rope in facilitators, and we launch our programs. Along with that, I also do organic marketing. So anything which pertains to communicating about the program, handling registrations. Right now, all the logistical work and such is also, the dirty jobs are also under my my umbrella.
Okay.
So
And
that's
I also want to
essentially
know
what I
how
do.
you came into the marketing field. Or that's it.
To be very honest, I did not make that choice, because when I think back, I come from a time where a lot of things were kind of cut out for us, that if you have been into arts and creative pursuits, then you might not be interested in science. So why don't you take something which maybe like commerce and such? And I really found commerce very drab. So I think what I was kind of left with was MBA being the very what do I say, the field at the top, or
So
the very
after
in
MBA
demand
you came
field
in
at that
this-
time. So I took up MBA. I did my marketing I pursued and specialized in marketing from the Nirma Institute of Management, Nirma University now. I also did my marketing communications from Stewart School of Business in Chicago, and I have worked along the way. So yes, I started off as a marketing communications professional, but I have spent more time in the academics than in the industry, because again I went back to my real and natural love,
Okay.
which is education. So I started teaching, and then yeah, that's how.
Yeah. And what does creativity means to you? I want to know.
I think creativity is the ability to apply knowledge or learning from one field into a completely unknown field, and that is what makes humans also different from AIs, machines, or robots, right? Because we are able to apply and take away what we have learned maybe through music into math, or from origami into math, right? So it's transdisciplinary learning. If I were to quote an example, say Robert Lang, he was a physicist, and he at the age of 6, his school teacher figured that there was nothing that she could do to keep him entertained in class, and she just introduced him to origami, threw some papers at him, and from there on began his journey into a hobby of folding paper. And having his scientific background, as he grew up, he took origami to a very next level. He's created several models that are 1/64th the size of an inch, 1/64th of an inch, to elephants that are hundreds of yards big. He's also mapped out origami to mathematics, to computing, and he's literally taken it to a level where any form that you give him, he would be able to create it through origami. So creativity is something where you just pick up what you know and take it to a completely different field. I also feel that lack of structure and a play way of learning are what foster creativity. If I were to think back of my childhood, I think we had all the freedom to do what we wanted to. I remember once I had taken off after a sadhu at the age of 5 or 6, and my parents had no idea where I was until he brought me back. The reason I'm linking this to creativity is that there was very little supervision and a lot of unstructured time where we could do what we wanted to and explore the world with our perspective. When I look at modern generation, I feel that the constraints are increasing. You leave children of a certain age without their tools, their toys, and their devices, and they'll come back bored. And a lot of times even parents, some parents might complain that मेरा child bore हो गया है, उसको कुछ उसके लिए क्या programs है. And I feel like saying that boredom is the seed from which creativity is born. I mean, the less structure you give your child, the better it is. I mean, rather than running from program to program, from one activity class to another activity class, what you could really do to fan creativity is let children explore the drive that they have within them. And to that extent, I feel that sometimes resource crunch or being deprived of things will also lead to a creative pursuit.
I want to know what was your motivation to come into education field, if you can tell.
I think it was more of an internal drive more than anything else. As I mentioned, I have always been inclined to playing teacher and learning and exploring through play way. So that was one thing that was an internal drive. Apart from that, I also come from a family of educators. My father, although a professional and a tax consultant, he has always contributed. He thinks that, I mean, it's something that he would really love to give back to the society. So that's where he's taught for more than 25 to 30 years as a professor of law. And my grandfather has always, when I think back of my grandfather, I think of him as a person who taught me and my entire family subjects like Sanskrit and English and math and such. So I think the inspiration was always there from the family, where I've seen people around me.
What are your hobbies?
So Vedant, one of my big time favorites these days is Euro style board games. I actually got introduced to this new genre of board games in 2015 when as a new mother I was seeking some me time, and one of our friends brought this game of Ticket to Ride, which is a which is a board game for building routes across the map of Europe. And we just spent hours and hours at night playing this game for several days. And since then, I've never really looked back. I mean, my husband and I, we both are very passionately inclined towards games, and we now have a collection of more than 80 games, which are very stimulating. Which what really catches us about these games is that they are rooted in strategy and real life. So there is an element of randomization as well, and there is a lot of strategic thinking that goes into it. So it stimulates you. It also is a lot of fun when you interact with people, and you get to meet like-minded people who are also passionate about games. So that is one of my recent hobbies. Okay, so I have been playing now for the past 10 years, and I've explored more
All
than
the games.
all the games, yeah, quite a lot of games. I've explored more than 80 to 100 games now. And another thing, again, being an educator, once a teacher, always a teacher. So I have also been taking a lot of play sessions for junior gamers who have been exploring these tabletop games such as Wingspan and Qatar and Istanbul and Ticket to Ride, if you've heard some of the gateway games, and also some of the more
Ticket to Ride no सांभळी तू मैं.
So yes, that was one of the first, along with Catan. So I have been taking these sessions for them, and one of the things that I have found is that games really put you to a decision. So the one thing that you learn through board games is decision making, because you are faced with a resource crunch kind of a situation where you have to make decisions in real time. Should I build a house here right now by paying $5, or should I wait and build 2 turns later? I can build 2 houses, but then it's going to cost me maybe double the amount, and who knows if a competitor comes and blocks that route. So a lot of thinking goes in the process. You need to be prompt. You need to also read into the body language of people. You need you have social interaction with them. So as opposed to screens, you are meeting in a physical space, you are hanging out with like-minded people, you are always thinking, and through that stimulation, you're having a lot of fun as well. So board games are a great way to spend the time together as families also. And the reason why this genre has become very popular is that if we think about the games that we grew up with, such as say Monopoly or Snakes and Ladders or Ludo, there was a lot of element of luck in those games. So you play them once or twice, it's fun, but then you ask an adult to join you, they're not going to be as kicked about it, right? Because it's going to be driven by the roll of dice. However, these games, they can engage anyone from a 4-year-old to a 104-year-old. So that is a kind of diversity of audience it can engage.
So what can you learn about from the game? This only, the decision making.
Right. I mean, several things actually.
So
games
I
are
think you
great.
implement a lot of things from the games you play.
Absolutely. I think games are a very fertile ground for anything that you want to learn about, right? I mean, apart from the fact that yes, it forces you to decision making, it could be a hook to learning about anything. For example, I pick up this game on say Istanbul, and I then dig more into it. I find out about Istanbul and its ancient the silk and spice routes the spice route that went along it. Through it, the coffee trading and the merchants of Istanbul, and maybe I dig into the artwork and I find out about the artist and the style of art that went into designing the game. I tend to try out different permutations and combinations and figure out which is the route that I should be taking from my starting point to say the place from where I acquire rubies. And I could be actually doing some mathematical programming and coding to make my decisions. So it really doesn't matter whether you want to learn history, whether you want to learn math, whether you want to learn art, whether you want to learn decision making, whether you want to learn any kind of strategic thinking. Games are a great hook, and that is what makes them so lovable and likable in the current times.
So I want to know, how did the Hive come about, if you can.
Right. I feel it was a very organic process. after about 15 years in marketing and communications, I realized when I became a mother, I realized that what I really wanted to do was just spend a lot more time with my children, making puppets for them, telling them stories, or doing rangoli with them based on Escher art, going together on travels, playing board games with them, and exploring the world. So that was what germinated the seed for doing something like this on a macro level and taking it to more people. Apart from that, always being a teacher and an educator, I felt that this was something which was right up my alley. I had, I have taught a lot of audiences, but I think my greatest satisfaction has come from teaching kids on the roadside. And I used to teach them not just math and science and English, but we would have come Navratri, we would have a Garba performance. Once in a year we would have just alongside the road we would put up a theatrical performance, and children would come and even sing nurseries and nursery rhymes or songs, and there would be a rangoli competition. And we've gone to Vikram Sarabhai Community Science Center, and these kids have done all the experiments that even some of the private schools would not have done in their science labs. So I got a lot of prototyping opportunity when I was teaching these kids, because it was an open ground. I mean, they were the ones who were just soaking up everything that I was willing to give to them. Saumil, my husband, and I, we've made and launched hot air balloons with them. We've taken them to Navy shows, and I think all of that has kind of fueled that desire in me that I want to do creative things with like-minded people, not just kids, but also people who would like to take a pause in their lives and would like to be lifelong learners and spend some time for what they really love and their hobbies. So that's what led to the setting up of the Hive.
What would you like to tell to the today's generation?
I have an advice which parents are not going to like.
Oh, you can definitely share here.
Yeah. So I'll first share an advice which most people will like, which is follow your heart, follow your ikigai, follow your passion, do what you really, really think you were born for, what was your purpose in life, and don't just go by the traditional professions. In fact, I see a lot of youngsters not succumbing to the traditional jobs anymore. I do see that there is a lot of hybrid, the hybridity in workforces where people are actually doing gigs and they are pursuing things that they really like. So yes, follow your passion, do what you really like. Don't just evaluate things based on what you're going to earn or how extraordinary you're going to have your you're going to shine out in that field, because the way things are changing right now, by the time you've already taken up first job, it will have changed on you and you'll have to adapt and move on. So just stay true to yourself. What I have to say next is not something that everybody might like, but I truly feel that you should have a lot of opportunity in your life to for pranks and for doing fun things that not everybody might approve of. So when I think back, I have done things such as making prank calls or writing prank notes or duping people, and it's been something from which you learn a lot. I remember that once during a Bharatnatyam dance exam, we had to recite a song in Tamil, and due to my 10th exams, I was totally unprepared. And here comes the external examiner, who seemed to be a Gujarati, and I could make that out because her name was Jyotsna Ben, and I don't know Tamil was written all over her face. So I just sang a song in gibberish that sounded like Tamil, something like Yenna pilla rinna minna iyammaru yela makiru thim 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 thim, to the song, to the rhythm of the talam. My dance guru was almost, her jaw was had dropped down, and she literally just played along, literally and figuratively. And you know what I got in that examination?
No.
I aced it because just because of the sheer confidence with which I kind of put up the show. So what I really want to say is not that go and cheat, or that was actually the only exam where I have done any kind of cheating. I have always otherwise been the goody two shoe academically inclined girl, but I think there is really no merit to it. Open up, do what you like, because you have this life in which you want to explore and be totally without any reins, and the more free you are, the more you bloom in life. That's what I feel.
Okay.
So parents, don't rein your children, don't structure things too much for them. Give them the freedom they deserve, give them the opportunities to do naughty things, to indulge in pranks, and live their lives the way as children should.
Thank you so much for coming to the podcast, Kruti ji. It was wonderful having you.
It's a pleasure, Vedant, meeting you after such a long time.
Yeah.
So, yep,
Thank you.
thanks. The pleasure is all mine.
Yeah.